Let me begin by sharing a film that hopefully articulates the purpose of ONDC. So let's start with that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing. Go to the next slide and just play the film, please.
भारत खुलेगा।
अबे राजू, ये मूंग दाल हल्दी मिर्ची पैक हुआ क्या?
आगे हो गया।
अब तो पूरे शहर में डिलीवरी कर रहे हो।
ONDC के साथ छोटे से मोहल्ले में शहर का सबसे बड़ा सुपर स्टोर खुलेगा।
ये रहा, रोको।
सड़क किनारे बनते दियों के लिए बड़े बड़े बंगलों का दरवाजा खुलेगा।
ये भी बहुत अच्छा।
खुलेगा।
ये मैं और ये मेरे पापा। मेरे पापा ना बचपन में मेरे लिए कलर की बताशे लाते थे।
तो फिर आप मेरे लिए भी लेके आओ।
अभी मंगवाता हूँ।
मिठाई की दुकानों के साथ साथ बचपन की यादों का झरोका खुलेगा। अलीगढ़ का ताला पंजिम पटियाला चेन्नई के हाथों से खुलेगा।
कुल्फी खाने का मन कर रहा है।
इस टाइम चलिए साथ में करते हैं।
चाहे मंगवानी हो काम की चीज या कुछ भी चटर पटर, काका काकी के लिए किसी भी टाइम हर दुकान हर शटर आसानी से खुलेगा। इस ओपन नेटवर्क के साथ मिस सपना के सपने खुलेंगे। मिसेस श्रीनिवासन की सोच खुलेगी। मिस्टर एंड मिसेस कपूर का आने वाला कल खुलेगा। मांझी शाह के अचार की तारीफ में पूरे देश का मुंह खुलेगा। मिश्रा जी की टैक्सी का दरवाजा सनी, बनी, हनी, टोनी के साथ साथ टूरिस्ट, हनीमूनर्स, सीईओज सब के लिए खुलेगा। खुशियां खुलेंगी, तरक्की खुलेगी, आशाएं खुलेंगी, ख्वाहिशें खुलेंगी, आसानी खुलेगी। जब ONDC नेटवर्क पर हर तरह के बिजनेस के लिए भारत खुलेगा, तो करोड़ों कस्टमर्स और दुकानदारों के लिए बेचने और खरीदने का नया तरीका खुलेगा। ONDC नेटवर्क पर अब हर बिजनेस के लिए भारत खुलेगा।
So that really is our mission, that हर business के लिए भारत खुलेगा. For every kind of business, regardless of the type of seller they are, whether they're a manufacturing organization, whether a farmer, artisan, home and entrepreneur, regardless of the type of maker or creator you are, your business should find the entire country open for business on this network. Now, ONDC is not an easy subject, although in a way it is easy, but it gets complicated because ONDC is doing e-commerce the way e-commerce has not been done before. That itself takes a much more detailed briefing than we have time for today. But let me talk about some of the steps that we are doing. And the first step in that is education. So we do a lot of outreach, we do a lot of workshops, we do a lot of explanation. And it's not just about telling what ONDC is, it's about not just teaching, but also consulting. So we work with you, we understand your business, and we suggest ways by which you can connect with the network to begin with, and how you can expand from there. We have taken experiences of people who have come on board, whatever they had to learn in the initial stages, converted that to a handbook. The handbook has been converted to a video, 27 videos actually, into an academy format. So all network participants on the network now send their people to get certified, and they can then use that same set of videos to help educate sellers that they're onboarding on how to sell online with excellence. So education is one big theme. Second big theme is finding network participants who can bring India at scale to the network. Now that's not a small task. Therefore, we are cultivating a group of network participants by sector, by geography, who can onboard with that special interest, with that special background. For example, if you're onboarding Kirana stores, it's very easy to onboard more Kirana stores. If you're onboarding fashion stores, it's easy to onboard more fashion stores. If you're onboarding artisans, then it's easier to onboard more artisans. We've also realized that most of these companies are relatively small. They don't have huge bandwidth and huge number of resources. So it's impossible for any one company to send their team across the length and breadth of the country and do this onboarding. So cultivating onboarding partners across the length and breadth of the country is the second stream of work that we are doing. The third stream of work that we are doing is with developing supporting tools. And so when there is a network, in fact, one of the first questions we get asked is if I order something, it doesn't come, how do I handle it, right? People are automatically thinking of the failure cases and how to handle. Now, in order for an unbundled network to work, there should be a method by which all participants have a common language to share question marks, issues, and having them resolved. So building an issue management framework that is digital online is one example. There is money being settled. If through a single buyer application you place orders from multiple sellers on multiple seller applications, there are multiple settlements to be done. That's very complicated for an average buyer or an average seller. So building a reconciliation framework that allows digital settlement multi-party to multi-party becomes another example. Scoring and badging. How does a particular seller get a score? What does that score mean? What are other validators of trust other than the score? Is that person having a craft mark, or do they have a GI tag product? Are they endorsed by an organization? Are they financially supported by an organization? So is it Tata Trust funded, or is it SIDBI supported? Having badges of that nature are additional layers of trust. So building an entire system of tools that will enable the validity of sellers, validity of product, and more importantly, enable people to have confidence in what they're buying. The fourth one is in terms of developing a playbook and for sellers to do their own marketing. The world of e-commerce has actually made the world of marketers very lazy. I come from that field, so I'm talking about my own field. Because it became very easy. You onboard a large e-commerce marketplace, and then you simply pay them money to show up in rankings, and that was it. Right? We have abandoned our belief in our own product. Anybody who makes anything or sells anything has done it because they know there is a market for it, without exception. Whether it is a company, whether it is a vendor, whether it is a rickshaw puller, everybody has started whatever product or service they're doing because there is demand for it, because there's a market for it. And they also know what is special about them. The specialty may be availability at a point in time, specialty may be the product that you're making, and the entire e-commerce conversation has taken it away from those unique propositions down to discounts and deals. So now, how do you market yourself? In the non-digital world, everyone knows how to market themselves and has been doing it. We are now enabling ability for sellers to be able to market on the network and develop a playbook so that they can do it efficiently and helping build the tools for it. We are also enlisting partners, and so big social media platforms like Meta have joined hands with us, and they're making available marketing credit to sellers. So it's not just our resources, but it's also ecosystem resources. Fifth one is financial assistance. So most organizations have some amount of financial ability to do the business they're doing, but they may not have the ability to invest in every possible angle. Thankfully, a lot of government departments, ministries, state governments have developed schemes. They are bringing out funds that will enable people to do digital marketing. So we are building the bridge programs by which you can tap those funds and avail of those fundings. We have philanthropic organizations who are interested in helping the social sector come up. There are many organizations that are supporting women entrepreneurs. So bringing that as an ecosystem and enabling the source of funds to find beneficiaries of funds. The sixth area is technical support. Now, the typical seller will actually not need much technical support, but the network participants who are onboarding them will need a lot of it. And so we are providing technical resources to strengthen the people who will onboard you onto the network, including providing our own resources for help desk, because we know these are early days of the network. Not everybody has been in e-commerce before, not everybody has experienced the operational difficulties of e-commerce before. Often sellers who have not been digital do not keep track of their inventory. If somebody shows up at their shop, either they will say, I don't have it, or if it's available in the market, they might send their chotu to go and pick it up from the market and give it, but they have never had the need to keep track of their inventory. But online they have to, because in order to accept an order, you have to have that inventory, and you can't accept the order and then say I don't have it and then decline it, because that will affect your rating. So just one simple example of what people need to learn, and so these resources help the sellers overcome it, but more importantly help the network participants who onboard sellers become stronger in supporting. Community building. Now this is particularly true in the social sector, and we are looking to build clusters of artisans, because then that starts to bring scale. It also brings scale to other services like logistics, because in remote corners it may not be possible to individually pick products. But if there is, let's say, a higher order town which is nearby, where all these products can be brought as a central warehousing solution, then from there orders can be placed and becomes possible. So clustering, building communities, communities of sellers, communities of service providers, communities of buyers, all of them will help the unbundled e-commerce to flourish. User experience. And user experience is valid both on the buyer side as well as on the seller side. On the buyer side, it's the act of finding what you want as quickly as you want. And we heard the comment about people do not want to see endless scrolling to get to where they want to get to. So how do you enable consumers to buy for what they want? In fact, often in, let's say, clothing shops, you will hear a conversation that goes like this. I'm looking for a sari for an engagement event. Madam, kaisi sari chahiye aapko? Kitne ki chahiye? Then you will give a range. You will give a type. The person brings it out. नहीं ये blue बड़ा dark है मुझे इसे थोड़ा हल्का blue चाहिए इसमें maroon border वाला है क्या? So now you're adding colors, you're adding variation. This is how real commerce takes place. Tell me which search experience on which e-commerce platform will help you do this. There isn't one. And so there are many ways in which real commerce takes place, which the existing e-commerce has sort of grandly simplified into text strings and images and comparisons. That helps to a certain extent, but that doesn't solve for everything. On the seller side, seller is busy. Right? A small store will probably have only one educated owner and maybe a couple of semi-educated or maybe uneducated helpers. Now, how does the store owner manage his store and also keep track of everything that is going on? For him, the interface that he's using to accept the orders, to confirm the orders, that needs to be simple. He needs to know that an order has come on his store, right, so that he can click that accept. So user interface on buyer and seller side is an important factor. And so we are also engaging with people who are good at this, helping them develop practices, in some cases even helping them develop tools that can be simply plugged in. One such program that we have started is with Bhashini. For those of you who know Bhashini, Bhashini is an organization that is working with Indic languages. And so they are building tools whereby when a seller onboards their catalog, that catalog can be automatically converted to multiple Indian languages. Similarly, when somebody is shopping, whichever language you are shopping through, that can get converted into a common language for the network to respond to. So one more example of user experience on both sides. Self-promotion tools. You know, before we had digital, we had phone numbers. And when we had phone numbers, how did we promote phone numbers? Well, we simply told people about our phone numbers. Right? Just because you stick a SIM card in your mobile phone doesn't mean people will call you. People have to know that number. So we put it on our business cards, we put it on our store heading, we put it on our invoices, we put it in the bottom of our email. We put it everywhere we can think of. Because the more people know our number, the more people can call us. And when they dial our number, they reach us directly. They don't reach somebody in between. They reach us directly. That's the magic of a phone number. We are creating a network-wide shopping QR code. And with this QR code, any seller can now direct people directly to their store. Yes, they will go through a buyer application, but the buyer application simply scans that QR code, directly pulls the catalog of that seller and presents that to the buyer. So now sellers have an ability to market themselves directly to themselves and not worry about losing their customer along the way. Because if you did that with e-commerce platforms as they are today, you only will end up with a search string that will land them on some other seller like you, not necessarily yourself. This will be like a phone number. So now you will have a resource by which you can promote yourself and benefit from it directly. When digital commerce came, brands were spending in three places. First, you spend to build the brand. People have to know you, otherwise you are a commodity product. That spending was always there in pre-digital era, continues to be there now. But brands are also spending on search. Once you've advertised, you don't want that search traffic to go to your competitor. After the search has responded by showing up your e-commerce presence somewhere, you don't want to have on the e-commerce platform a competitor buying the first page and taking it away. So brands are spending in three places because there are places in that journey where your traffic can be redirected elsewhere legitimately. I'm not saying this is evil, but that's the nature of the practice. But with the QR code, now you can direct them straight onto you, no intervening areas. So building tools like this which empower individual sellers and enable them to productively and profitably grow their own business is number 9. And finally, performance analytics. On e-commerce platforms, you only know when you sell a product. You do not know who the customer is, and you do not know how you compare with others. But seller network participants on a network know that. Plus, you are the seller. You will know who your customer is, but you will also get additional insights. I talked about inventory management. So a simple insight will be, what is your order pattern? What is your order pattern weekday, weekend? And so do you have the stock that is needed to support your business? That's a simple analytics. Often people go by intuition and years of intuitive kind of doing their business, but sometimes intuition is not so perfect and things do go wrong. How do you compare yourself vis-a-vis rest of the market? So is your catalog showing up regularly but not converting to order? Why is that? Is it because you don't have enough pictures? Is it because your price is not right? And so these kind of analytics will help each seller improve the way they do business, and importantly, learn more about how they can grow. So there will probably be more ways that we can help. These are just some of the ways we are doing it. And I would encourage all of you to find out more about ONDC. We do a public briefing every Tuesday at 3 p.m. It's a 1-hour briefing. It will be well worth your while. Half an hour of briefing, half an hour of Q&A, ask your questions. And that, I would say, is the best way to learn. I will also give a public email address, and you may note that. So reach out to us at team@ondc.org, and we will help your business, your products, your services come to the network and benefit from this wonderful transformation that we are all going to be part of. Thank you.